So hello and welcome to Conversations with Esther tonight, the 2nd of April 2025. Today is an exciting day. We have our guest in the house, Jay Walemba, a very good friend of mine. Allow me to pray as we kick off the session. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for this session. We pray that you take charge, that we will learn, Lord, that none of us will leave this place the same. I pray for the audience that are in and that will come in, that God, you will give them peace and give them fulfillment in their current place. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen and amen. Allow me to share this so that we can kick off right away. So for those that are possibly joining us for the very first time, allow me to introduce you to Conversations with Esther. My name is Esther Katiba. This is our social media link. You can scan that. We will share that. But below there, you can see our YouTube. Our YouTube is Conversations with Esther Katiba. Our LinkedIn is Esther Katiba. Our Instagram is Conversations with Esther Katiba. So just make sure you have Esther Katiba in your YouTube, in your LinkedIn, and in your Instagram. You will be home and dry. Good. An intro, a basic intro on Conversations with Esther. Conversations with Esther is an impact-driven professional platform. We inform you, we ensure that we educate you, we rebuild your mindset on matters of work, organizational culture, and holistic wellness. Now, we ignite ethical and authentic leadership, promoting best practice within industries. So we deal with different industries. We equip the workplace with relevant legal, human resource, and holistic wellness skills through capacity building or training, motivational talks. We provide end-to-end HR consultancy, support and mentorship program. Then I want to talk about the HR consultancy. We walk you through the employee life cycle from sourcing to exit. We do training, we help you recruit, we help you build capacity, we help you customize wellness programs in the workplace, and we support your HR function with a legal background. Now, guided by our 3 values, integrity, excellence, and impact, we envision a workplace transformed by candid conversations like what we are having tonight, respectable relationships, and intentional leadership. Now, Conversations with Esther is big and known for wellness, workplace wellness. We focus on the 7 pillars of wellness, and this is a question I'll ask you tonight. How is your physical wellness? What are you doing about your physical wellness? Your exercise, your diet? What are you doing with your mental health? What are you doing, and how is your financial wellness? How is your social wellness? How is your spiritual wellness, environmental wellness, and how is your intellectual wellness? So we help organizations walk through the 7 pillars for their employees and leadership as well. We help you customize wellness programs that will help motivate and take care of your employees, so that as you push your employees for productivity as an employer, you're also taking care of their holistic wellness. Now, this is our calendar, and I want to thank everyone. I think we had almost 40 people that showed up last weekend. Despite the rains, we had a huge turnout at the Karura Forest. We did our nature walk. That is on 29th of March. Thank you very much for those that joined us. If you didn't make it, there's a lot for you this year. 26th of April, we will be inviting you for a team building activity and networking event where you get to meet other people, you get to meet employers, colleagues, or organizations that you've desired to meet, and get to have a team building event. Now, on 31st of May, physical wellness event. Your wellness is your responsibility. So we have physical wellness events where we come and also network, but we also engage in a lot of fitness activities. We have nutritionists, we have mental health specialists, we have people that come and guide us, professionals. 28th of June, environmental wellness activities. 26th of July, we have a hike. We will be giving you the venues of all these places as the days draw near. 30th of August, facing our fears, daring activities. And we are inviting your views and your suggestions on sites and places that you would want us to go to. 27th of September, we will do a movie and bowling so that we can also bond. Mental health awareness event, 25th of October, and we'll close the year with the dinner and awards for wellness champions. So we are encouraging you to drive wellness in your spaces, not just your workplace. Let the wellness conversation begin in your home. Let it also go into your social circles. Let it go everywhere. Make sure that wellness is a conversation that you have every other day. So tonight we have a special guest, a very good friend of mine, Jay Walemba. Jay is a career strategist, founder, and CEO of JCVs. Jay has transformed people in the career space. He has branded people. He has positioned people through their CVs and coaching and mentorship. And I want to really appreciate you, Jay. I know you may not have put out in the public everything you do, but we had a conversation with Jay before the session began. And he says in the month of March, 100+ people got jobs through his channels. Congratulations, Jay. You're impacting lives, and we are super proud of you. So our topic tonight is how to ace a virtual job interview. This is a very tricky one, but we have the expert in the room. Remote hiring is here to stay. Virtual interviewing is convenient for employers as it allows for more efficient interview process, eases scheduling conflicts, saves money, and broadens the candidate pool. So then how does one ace that job interview, that virtual job interview? The expert in the room, Jay Walemba, will take us through. Jay, the floor is yours. We are here to learn. Karibu sana.
Asante sana. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, from wherever you catching us from. As you've introduced me, my name is Walemba J. We do CVs and we help job seekers, we help professionals brand themselves online and in person through CV writing and just preparing people for interviews. And in the CV space, we've been able to do a wonderful job. We've done over 50,000 CVs by the end of last year. So, and out of the 50,000 CVs, about 10% are clients from the Middle East and across the world. And several from Kenya, about 80%. And then we have the senior people in government. We have about 5% of the CVs as well. So JCVs This evening, I'll not talk more about DCVs because I think we all know what DCVs does, and I think anyone who is seeking for a job, especially in Nairobi, must have heard about DCVs. So this is the face behind DCVs. So this evening, I'll be talking about a very interesting topic, and it's a topic that when you are a job seeker, there are several things that you cannot escape. So the number one thing is that you cannot escape having a good CV. And the other thing is that you cannot escape going through an interview so that you can be able to get a job. And when you talk about interviews, people look at it as some of us look at it as a way of recruiters punishing us. Some of us look at it as a way of growth. Some of us look at it as a way of just recruiters wanting to know what impact we are bringing to the organization. And sometimes I've seen people write that if you feel that if recruiters have had the candidate, why will they advertise for these positions? Sometimes the recruiters do not have the candidates. It's just that we don't prepare enough. We don't do our best. And sometimes you might feel that you've done your best when in real sense, you've not done your best. So how can you be able to do your best, especially on virtual interviews? So I'll be taking you through acing online interviews. And I know some of you already have questions that you'll want me to respond to. I'm sure about most common interview questions, which I'll be ready to do because for me, interview is something that I really love and talking about it. And I do coaching to several people, even the CEOs and the top management team. So I'll be sharing essential tips and strategies to succeed in online interviews. And so types of virtual interviews that we have. Now, some people will think that virtual interviews are only those interviews that are conducted via platforms like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, and even Skype. But we should not forget that even a phone interview is a virtual interview, where a recruiter calls you just to get some info about you, asking you 1, 2, 3 questions about who you are and if you're the right candidate for that job. Sometimes the phone interviews, people take them so casually that to some extent, you end up not being selected to proceed for the next interview. I've had people that recruiters will even drop you just through the phone interview. Someone talks to you in a phone interview and calling you for a phone interview, and you are very casual. You are responding. You are in a noisy place. You are responding as if you very casually that hiyo kazi kama uko kwenu ni kuzuri, siwacha nikuje. So such things, and this is a very professional conversation. So you need to ensure that you at least be the professional that you are, and even ask for permission. Tell the person that I'm in a noisy place, I'll call you back at this and this time or at your convenience. So the number one type of virtual interview is the one-on-one video interview. This is the most common one, where now we have Zoom, we have Microsoft Teams, we have Google Meet. So in most cases, you'll find that you have a single interviewer on the other side, and you're on this side who will be interviewing you. Then they have the second one, which is the panel interview. So for the panel interview, you have multiple interviewers from a company asking the questions. And you'll find that you need to address all panelists and as you manage the eye contact. Then you have the pre-recorded interview, questions that you answer within a specific time. For those that have tried applying for jobs with, especially in the cabin crew field, applying for jobs with Etihad, applying for jobs with the Emirates, you'll always find we have these such kind of questions where now you're told to record and then you need to respond to these. Then you have the technical or skill-based interviews. These might involve things like coding tasks, case studies, or even skills demonstration. And at this point, you might have to share your screen, where now you have to do a presentation to the interviewers, and then they'll be asking questions. They'll be looking at you, asking questions, and they'll want to really follow up and understand that you're not checking anywhere else. You should have your camera on, and you should always ensure that you face the camera, not looking at the screen. Look at the camera, not the screen. So it really helps the recruiter to understand that, to see your skills and be able to evaluate you based on what you're providing. Now, now, what do you need to do when preparing for virtual interviews? The first thing you need to do, I'll be talking about interview preparation, what you need to do, the environment that you are in, the technology. This is now things like the internet, then appearance and dressing code. When doing interviews, whether it's virtual or physical, always make sure that you are very official. So the number one thing to do in interview preparation, you need to practice mock interviews. The only difference between virtual interviews and the physical interviews is that on the physical interview, you'll have to travel to that company. But when it comes to questions that are being asked, the questions are still the same questions. So make sure that you are able to prepare well, you do enough research about the company, you prepare, you research about the company, you know their values, you know their mission, because in most cases, most of questions when they're talking about why should we hire you, or why are you interested in working with us? So in most cases, this is something related to what the mission of that organization, the value of that organization, and even the about the organization. What do they do? What do they stand for? What are the core values of that organization? Then prepare to ask a question. So show engagement, because this one shows engagement and interest in the role. In most cases, we've had candidates where you ask the candidate, do you have any questions for us? Some candidates will tell you bluntly that they have no question for the interviewer. This shows that you are, as much as you might be interested in the role, it doesn't show that engagement. You need to be able to ask questions related to the interview, related to the role that you're going for, and avoid asking personal questions at this point, especially questions about salary, question about benefits should not be asked at this point. Then the number two thing you need to consider is the environment. So choose a noisy free space and ensure that it's well lit, for visibility, so that now the panelists or the interviewer can see you. Choose a place that has very minimal distractions. Remove clutter and interruptions from that place. Then you have a neutral background. Keep it simple and very professional. If you have a background that is very plain, that will be very okay. Then the technology aspect, we are talking about things like avoid internet connections. Make sure that your internet is very stable. If it's a phone that you're using, you're hotspotting, make sure that you are able to block all calls at that point, so that it will not affect the connection. Sometimes interviewers, sorry, sometimes interviewers have a timed time frame for you to just interview. So anytime there's a network failure, they might skip you and consider other candidates. So make sure that you are all ready during that preparation. Then test the interview platform. If you're using Zoom, if you're using Google Teams, ensure that your app is working well, or if you're using the browser, it's is working well, and you can be able to engage and connect with the recruiters easily. Then check your microphone and video. Ensure that it's very clear and the audio is good, and the video is as well of good quality. Then on appearance and dress code, dress professionally. You might, in most cases, you might take the interviews from home. So ensure that even if it means that having at least an official top will be recommended, so that now the recruiter can see the professionalism in you, and not just someone with a torn shirt or a t-shirt if it's a very serious position that you're going for. So make sure that you dress well and ensure that you keep that appearance professional. Then the other thing is the interview etiquette. Always log in 5 to 10 minutes early, so that you make sure that let the recruiters find you in the call, and not you finding the recruiters in the call. So when you're not speaking at that time, mute your microphone. Then let the interviewers finish the question before you respond. Give them time, listen carefully, and ensure that the recruiter is able to handle all the question, to ask the whole question before you can be able to respond. Now, avoid words like because now it shows that you are not ready for that interview and you're not prepared. Anytime you have an interview, make sure that you are able to prepare, you prepare in time, and you ensure that you understand the job description, you understand the job that you're going for. And that's why we always advise that you make sure that you do mock interviews, you make sure that you practice, you research about the organization, what they're doing, even the most recent developments. If it's something to do with the financials of that organization, you need to talk about it. If there's something to do with the um, any partnerships the organization is working on, any mergers, you need to talk about them in that interview. This shows the recruiter that you've understood what the organization is all about, and by coming in, you are ready to push and help the organization achieve its mission or even goals that they are working on. So look at the camera and not the screen. If you look at the screen, the recruiter might think that sometimes the recruiter might think that, or the interviewer might think that you have maybe some notes around your laptop or the screen that you're looking at. So make sure that you keep eye contact to the camera, because now it helps the recruiter see, the recruiter can be able to see that you're looking at the camera and not just the screen. Then ensure that you thank the interviewer before ending the interview, and follow up with a thank you email. In most cases, a very few of us will do thank you notes. Anyone who has ever done a thank you note, you can just write on the chat section. How many of us have ever done a thank you note after interviews? And what was the response of that interviewer or that panel that you are going for? So make sure that you do a thank you note. Make it a very common thing to you. Anytime you have an interview, you make sure that you're able to do the thank you note. And then I'll be waiting for questions, even though I have prepared some questions, just to talk about the general questions for an interview and how you should respond to some of the questions. Esther, I don't know if I should handle that if we have questions from the other side. I have another presentation on most common interview questions.
Do I see? I did. I think Martin says he did a thank you notes and got the job on both instances.
Wow, that's awesome. And I think that is the impact of a thank you note.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So I don't see any other question. I encourage them to keep sending the questions and comments as you go on.
So I can do another presentation right away.
Yes.
On the most common interview questions.
Let's keep sharing. That was a good one, Martin, as Jay goes on.
Just a minute.
Anyone with a question as he goes to the next? It's an interactive session. We are learning, so let's be open to exchanging notes.
Now, job interview tips and how to ace your next interview. So I'll be talking about some of the most common questions, because as I've said, the only difference between the physical interview and the virtual interview that we're talking about this evening is that now the questions remain the same, but the only difference is that now for physical interview, you're meeting the recruiters in person, and for virtual interview, you need to prepare while you are off the venue. So now the job interview is often the first substantial interaction with potential employers. That one I've talked about it. So what are some of the reasons? What are some of the importances of us preparing for interviews? So the first thing, when you prepare for interview, especially for mock interviews, I always ask people to come for mock interviews or do mock interviews, because it helps you boost your confidence. That's the first point. The number two thing, it helps you demonstrate professionalism, because now you'll not have the such communication during the interview. Then it enhances your communication skill, because when you keep on practicing, you become a pro in these in interviews. For me, when I'm sometimes when I'm doing interviews, I look at what some of the candidates are telling you, and you feel that this is the right person for this job. This person is the first one in the interview room, and you feel that maybe you should not proceed with the interviews, because the first person has given you what you wanted. And when the second person comes as well, they give you even more than what the first person did, and the third time that person as well. So it helps now enhance that communication and even increases knowledge about the company, because you are able to do enough research, you are able to understand what the company does, you are able to understand the products of the company, able to understand the mission and vision of that company. And this one helps improve your chances of success, because once you have enough confidence, you have good communication skills, and then you have knowledge about the company, the only thing, and you understand the JD, the only thing now left is for you to succeed in that interview. Then things to do before the interview. I've talked about them. Research about the company. If this is for a physical interview, arrive early, understand the role, dress properly, then gather necessary materials. As well, when something that I didn't talk about, virtual interviews, you can have your documents in PDF saved on your laptop, so that when the recruiters ask for them, you can be able to share them as well. Then there are several types of questions. We have 5 that I've listed here, and I'll be giving examples and how you can be able to respond to them. So the general questions will not vary, will be similar in various roles. Even if you are an accountant, you are an HR, you are data administrator, the general questions will remain the same. Questions like, tell us about yourself, why should we hire you, what is your salary expectation, what are your weaknesses, what are your strengths. All these questions will come to every other profession. The technical questions are questions that will vary from one profession to another. And when you talk about the technical questions, they are testing on the technical skills. And the technical skills are skills that are gotten through on job, practicing that career. For HR, when someone talks about recruitment and selection, you should understand that that's a technical skill that will not be similar to someone with in accounting or someone in procurement. Then we have the situational questions. So the situational questions are testing on specific skills from the recruiters, from this candidate. They might be testing your leadership skills. They might be testing your decision-making skill. They might be testing your problem-solving skills. And the situational questions have a specific way of handling them. We call it the STAR method. Use the STAR method to respond to situational questions, where the A stands for the situation, T stands for the task, A stands for the action, and R stands for the result. So you need to use this to structure the response. And once you understand the STAR method, it becomes so easy for you to thrive in the technical questions, situational questions. It becomes so easy. They might be asking about something that you've never practiced or something that you've never experienced, but because you understand the STAR method, you can give a situation and be able to run through it well using the STAR method and learn that, respond as that interview. Then the others, we have the behavioral questions. So these questions explore the past behavior in specific situations and predict future behavior. To understand how the purpose of this is just to understand how the candidate has handled various work scenarios in the past. Tell us about a time when you made a mistake at work and how you handled it. So those are that's an example of a behavioral question. Then you have the culture fit question. So the culture fit question just asks to ensure that the candidate will fit well within the team and that company environment. And sometimes you might find that some organizations are using the assessments to help understand the culture fit. What type of environment do you thrive in? What kind of leaders will you love to work with? How motivated are you to work in a team? So all these questions are sometimes you might respond to this question honestly and knowing that you're doing the right thing, but the recruiter is looking at specifically a different personality for you to be able to fit in that environment. So when culture fit questions are asked, recruiters know the kind of environment they are in. So asking culture fit questions will help them now understand if you're the person that can fit in that organization, if your personality will allow you to thrive in that organization, or if your personality will not thrive in that organization. So they'll make a decision after you've passed the first interview, second interview, and then now coming for the culture fit question. It might now not help you stay in that organization. So personalities, maybe you're an introvert, you're an extrovert, might as well affect you fitting in that specific culture. Then things to observe when during an interview. Smile warmly and maintain eye contact. This shows that you're engaged and interested in that conversation. Listen actively, like you've said before. Pay attention to what the interviewer is saying and ask clarifying questions if needed. Provide specific examples when responding to questions. The easiest way to respond to an interview question is when providing real-time examples. A recruiter is asking about your skills in event planning, and then you say that you need to, using an example, you say that while I was at school, we had a career day, and I was in the organizing team. So I was the person responsible for sending invites to the guest speakers, ensure the logistic issues were taken care of, and during the event, I ensured that the place was set in time, and we started within the set time and finished within time. So this is something that you're giving a clear example of how you are able to utilize your event management skills. So the recruiter will easily with you because now you're giving a real example of what happened. So it becomes so easy for them to feel that it's a tangible skill. Then ask thoughtful questions. Demonstrate your genuine interest in that role and the company. As I've said that this is not the time to ask about personal questions. This is questions. This is the time you need to ask about talk about your interest in the role and the company. Ask about what the company sees itself in the next 5 years. What projects the company is working on in relation to the job that you've applied for. So speak clearly and with enthusiasm. This demonstrates your confidence and passion for the opportunity. So once you ensure that you practice mock interviews, it becomes so easy for you to speak clearly with enthusiasm and ensure that you have that confidence for that opportunity. Then be clear and concise. Sometimes we get candidates that talk too much during the interview, and sometimes the candidates might come in and own the conversation. You, as the recruiter or the interviewer, you become now an audience to that candidate. A candidate will set their own questions and respond to them correctly. Sometimes this is a disadvantage to the candidate because the recruiter will want you to be very clear and concise. Respond to the questions that you've been asked, and then wait for the next question. Ask insightful questions. That's when we talked about it. Then avoid questions about salary and benefits in the first interview. Issues about salary, let the recruiter ask about your expectation, and maybe you just clarifying on what you expect, and the recruiter might give you the budget so that if there's any any negotiations, you can initiate them at that point. But questions about benefits should not come in at this point, especially when you asked about if you have any questions for us. Then send a thank you email, that one you talked about. In the thank you email, always make sure that you reiterate your interest and fit for that position. Highlight your key qualifications and how they align with the job. Then mention something specific from the interview. So this demonstrates that you are actively listening and engaging in the conversation. You might have one of the panelists that might have asked a question that really related with you. So you can mention that in the thank you note. Then common interview mistakes: arriving late or unprepared. If you arrive late for an interview, definitely that will throw you out. You'll not be confident, you'll not be settled during the interview, and you might have yourself to blame for that. Showing lack of knowledge about the company or the role. I know some of us are very desperate in terms of job search. We advertise for several jobs, we apply for very many jobs. And once you're invited for an interview, some of us do not even know which organization we are communicating to, or which organization is going to interview us. So sometimes we tend to find ourselves in that. You need to, I always ask job seekers that when you're doing job applications, have a notebook. And the same way, when going for interviews, have a notebook where now, anytime you go for an interview, after the interview, come and write your questions, the questions that you were asked in that interview. And I believe you me that if you're going for the same position for 3-4 times, the questions, 80% of the questions in the fourth interview will come from the previous 3 interviews. So make sure that you are able to write these and prepare. If there's a question that gave you a hard time during an interview, make sure you practice. You ask people in the field, you ask your mentors, you ask career coaches or interview coaches so that they can help you understand that question. And in the next interview, it will not give you that hard time. Then speaking negatively about past employers or experiences, there are good candidates that you meet in the interview rooms, but they are bad mouthing their former employers. So this is something that recruiters will make a decision even before you leave that room. Bad mouthing your former employer is a no for any company. So failing to ask thoughtful questions about the position of the company, that's something that I've talked about. Some of us going for the interview and saying that you don't have any question. Oversharing personal information unrelated to the job, telling the recruit about information that is very unnecessary. Maybe you're the fifth born, or how you go party, things that are very unrelated to the job. So make sure that you limit the information to what has been asked and then respond to that alone. Then using vague or cliche responses to interview questions. Make sure you use a language that is understood by the panel and they can easily relate to that. Poor body language, avoiding eye contact. When you don't prepare, this will be the result. You'll avoid eye contact, and which is now sometimes recruiters in the room, you need to tell the candidates that you need, if you have friends that are seeking for jobs, you need to tell them about the scoring tool. What are some of the things that the scoring tool, as you interview, you're looking at? So some of the things in the scoring tool is confidence, looking at communication, we're looking at the attitude, we're looking at the body language. And this, just having a clear body language, maintaining eye contact and looking at all the panelists will earn you some marks. So talking too much or dominating the conversation, I've talked about that. This is something that for me, I've been able to view this not once, not twice, in several interviews. And the other day I was doing a virtual interview. I had a candidate who was just Googling and giving a response. You ask a question, you can see him seriously typing and then responding through Google and ChatGPT. So it's not a good thing to do. You always need to make sure that you understand the question and you prepare well. Then I'll not talk about psychometric tests at this point because that is totally a different thing. So Esther, I think we now have enough questions from the candidates, from the our audience this evening.
Thank you, Jay. And when you talked about about bad mouthing the current or former employer, I remember, I think we sat in an interview with panel with you, and
Yeah,
what we had was, whoa.
yeah,
And the employer is just like, this is exactly what you will say about me, you know?
yeah. Mm.
That was amazing. And I thought about a few things, when the panel says, and I want to advise the audience, because we do a lot of interviews together with Jay. When the panel says, relax, this is just a conversation.
Yeah.
Please do not over-relax. Because I have seen people who push the documents away, put their feet up, and they forget that they came for an interview. Actually, what the panel is looking for, they're looking for the real you. They want that other side of you to come out. I sat in another interview and someone sounded very arrogant. You know, when you asked a question, how would you handle this and this? And someone said, I am very tough on the board and I don't listen to them. And the panel just said, we are done. We are done. So please be careful how much of the freedom you use that in that place. Going to the questions, I have seen quite a number of them. Some of them are very interesting. Jay, let me just go there. Anne says it's a learning for her today. Thank you, Jay. Is it advisable to say your current salary, assuming you don't know the salary range of the hiring company?
Thank you so much for that question. Now, question about salaries is the question that I've always said that there are several ways and there are several factors that can make you take a lower salary. There are several factors that can make you be very confident and understand your worth. So I always say that the same way we go to the supermarket, you don't bargain. Assuming you are that product in the supermarket, you are that bread on the shelf in the supermarket. I have my 100 bob, but the bread is going for 105 shillings. Will I get the bread at 100 bob? Definitely no. So if you don't have the 105, you'll not pick the bread. So let that be you with the employer. The buyer, you being the buyer is the employer. The buyer is the employer, and then you are the product. The person that now the candidate is the product. So if the employer cannot have their 105, they have 100, they should not pick you. The same way, you need to understand your worth. So I always believe that, for example, if you are in a stable job and for example, you are a HR, you're in a stable job, you're currently earning 150,000. You are a HRO, you're going for a HR manager role. What you need to do, you need to have a clear understanding. Do enough research about the pay for HR in that industry. So if the pay for HR in that industry is 200,000 or 250,000, then you need to evaluate yourself based on that. So the factors that are making us move, sometimes the factors that make us move from one organization to another, or even take a lower salary, the number one factor is you are transitioning to your field. You've been a you've been a salesperson, but you've done HR. So you've gotten a role in HR. You are considering now moving to HR. You might consider taking a lower salary. The other factor is that the organization you are in is so toxic. So if it's a toxic organization, then it means that you need to move to be able now to just have a piece of mental wellness. Then the other thing that can make us leave the organization you're in is that end of contract. Your contract is going to end and you are uncertain if you'll be able to get another job. But if you're in, as much as we consider, you have all these factors to consider before you move. If you are in a stable job and you understand your worth, sometimes the most worst thing about job seekers is that we don't understand our worth. And sometimes recruiters will tease us. You tell someone that what they ask you what about your expected salary, and you tell them that I'm looking at 70,000 and above. Then the recruiter tells us, how low can you go? Being a job seeker and being nervous, you tell them that 30,000 or even 40,000. And now this person does not understand their worth. Sometimes there are organizations that will pay you based on now what you're telling them. So recruiters know how to tease. If you are not confident, if you don't understand your worth, you might ask for 100,000 but end up earning 40,000. So understanding your worth is the best thing you can do as a job seeker. Do enough research about the pay in the industry at that time, then evaluate your value. What value am I bringing to this organization? If I'm coming in as a recruiter, as a HR, if I'm coming in as an accountant, what are some of the skills that I'm bringing on board? So you are selling this person your skill. And one thing job seekers need to understand is that we are not doing any favor to the employer. We are selling your skills and the employer is paying you for those skills that you're selling. So it's a win-win situation for you and the employer. Hakuna mtu anafanyia mwingine favor pale. everyone is there for business. You sell the skills, the employer pays you for those skills. So you make sure that you are able to value your skills, understand your worth, and then sell the skills as you will have sold it to if you are in that if you are a hawker in town. So make sure that you understand your value and talk about the salary, talk about the value that you feel that is worth you.
Good. Thank you. Thank you for that. Is it okay to send a thank you note the next day after interview in case one forgets on the very interview day? Yes. Is it okay to send a thank you note the following day if
Don't
they
forget.
forget?
Don't forget. You are from the interview, the first thing, even before you go for the interview, you should have that thank you note ready. You'll just edit a few things and then, because you should not forget that.
Good. Thank you, Jay, for this presentation. If an organization asks to choose either virtual interview or physical interview, how can you respond to that?
Now, this is based on your convenience. If you are able to go for a physical interview, and as well, which interview is convenient for you in terms of do you have the necessary technology? Will you be in a good environment for you to be able to take the virtual interview? If you feel that a physical interview works for you, go for it. If you feel that virtual interview will be good and will be convenient for you, maybe in terms of travel and in terms of logistics to get to that place, then you can consider whichever that is very convenient. You can just respond to them. I'll be okay with virtual interview. You don't need to explain because they've given you two options. Yeah.
Wait, someone asks here an interesting question. Do you go with a handwritten cover letter?
No, a cover letter is not needed during the interview. A cover letter is needed when you're applying for the job. So once you submit your cover letter, and even in some of the companies, you'll find them having a printed copy of your CV. So the only thing you need to carry when going for the interview is your CV and your academic documents and any other document that might be relevant for that interview.
Good. Martin has a very interesting one here. Hello, Jay. Why would a company insist on a physical interview, yet they are not reimbursing the cost of attending?
Now, sometimes some companies might not have the necessary technology for physical interview. And also, there are companies that are looking at, they'll want to meet you face to face so that they see how confident you are and your communication skills, also based on the role that you're going for. Sometimes some roles will need that engagement, and the company will want to see if you are able to engage with people well in person. So just like you'll go for a social activity or just like you'll go for entertainment, no one reimburses you that money. So a job search is an investment that you need to make as well.
Good. I think I'll combine this one from Alex and Pauline. Alex asks, how do you answer the question on the salary expectations? Pauline says, how should one handle the question about salary? And how can you start and how soon can you start the position? How should one be handled? So the salary one and where availability.
Now, I always tell people that, the work of a HR in an interview, we are looking at compliance. And compliance starts with you being able to comply with your previous contract or your current contract. And I've said that sometimes the recruiter or interviewers will tease you so that they see how good you are with compliance. I know most of us have gone to interviews and you tell them that they ask how soon you're available and you tell them 1 month, I'll serve my 1 month notice. And another question comes up, but you want someone from next week or within 1 week. And 80% of the candidates will tell you that, yes, they'll start telling you the way they'll use their leave days, the way they'll forfeit their salary on the other side and start on this new company. Now, the HR person here is here to check for compliance. If you're not complying with your previous contract, then it means you'll do the same to our organization. So make sure that if your contract talks about 1 month notice, you must have that 1 month notice. If your contract talks about 2 weeks, you must have those 2 weeks. I've seen companies that their notice period is even 3 months. Companies like KQ for engineers, you are an engineer at KQ, you want to leave, you must have the 3 months notice. So if a recruiter is interested in you, they either pay in lieu or they wait, you serve the 3 months notice and before they can absorb you. And on salary, I've said that as a job seeker, you need to have value for yourself. Know your worth. I'm currently earning 80,000. Tell yourself that from the skills that I've gained at JCVs or at Conversations with Esther, I cannot move without getting a salary of 150. Yeah. So once you understand your worth and the skills you bring on board, always make sure that you have a tag on yourself. Have a tag that from the skills that I've gained here, my value is now at 200,000. So I cannot live for anything below 200,000. But I've said, regardless of you having that tag, there are some factors that can make you live or even take a lower salary. But never show the recruiters that you are very desperate to leave. If you're looking for maybe to transition, to get it back into a career or from a different career into a different career, you can now talk about do enough research on the salaries in that field and at that position, and then work with that. But if you don't have skills now, then it becomes difficult for you. So for you to be able to transition well, you need now to start gaining skills before you can be able to sell the skills to that potential employer.
Oh, good. Leonard asks, how best do you go about trying to understand an organization's culture and or leadership style without sounding brash, direct, or inappropriate?
Now, culture, if you understand culture, culture is a way of living in that organization and how they operate, how they do things. Sometimes you might not be able to understand the whole the organization culture during the interview, and even in the first months of that, you getting to the organization. I have a friend who joined an organization and she left a good organization and joined another. And she was so happy. She called me, told me, Jay, finally I've gotten a job. I've been really looking. And now, at the end of the month, it was August. This October last year. She's in HR, and then she's told that she's preparing a payroll for August. So now, some of the culture someone might not tell you during the interview that here we've been unpaid for the last 3 months. So you're getting into these organizations. If you ask anything about the organization the culture of an organization during the interview, you'll only 90% of the organization will tell you positive things about the organizations. No one will tell you any negative thing about the organization. So that's why now you have to get into the organization and be able now to learn about the culture. But during the interview, you will only get to know about the positives of that organization and not the negatives.
So good. And I think I want to add on that one, Jay, because it's important also for people we have Google. Look for people that have worked in that organization before and have a chat with them. I once was invited for an interview and I looked for a friend who had worked in that place, just discovered, oh, this guy was there. So I asked the guy and he told me, join them at your own risk. So I didn't join because I was like, no, I'm not quitting my job to join someone at my own risk. So do your background checks. The same way we do background checks on you, do background checks on that organization. Go to Glassdoor, see what people are saying, about the organization, their experience in that organization. So someone else here says, I think Anne had asked about salary, and I tend to think it might have been answered. In an interview, if you give twice the salary you are currently earning, do you think it affects your chances of being hired, and how would you handle this matter? Maybe in a few seconds, because I see our time is almost up and we have a number of questions.
Now, if you feel that your worth is you're worth the 2 times your current salary, then be it. You've done enough research about the salary for the organization is paying and the industry rates. If it's that 2 times, be it and then stick to that. You might be rejected in one organization but get hired in the other. So look at it in two ways. If that is your worth, you feel that currently I'm earning 100, my worth is 200,000. Say the 200,000 in the next interview, and then consider as well the other factors, toxicity and culture of that organization.
Good. In case where one resigns due to toxic working environment, is it good to capture the same when prompted by the panel? If no, how best can you answer this?
Now, in case one resigns due to toxic work environment, now there are reasons that you can share with the panel. For example, talking about a company having going insolvent and bankrupt, that one you can talk about it. There was a delay in salaries, that is very okay. But now talking about singling out an individual that your supervisor or your boss was doing this and this is not okay. So if you resigned about, you can just talk about having resigned for personal reasons, because of personal reasons. You can talk about medical, maybe schooling, but not bringing in issues to do with an individual in that organization.
Good. And on the same breath, please avoid, as Jay says, mentioning people's names in interviews and organizations, unless it's something positive that you're talking about. Don't go and mention a company. I worked for this and this company, and this person did this to me. Avoid that. I have always aced, this is Mudaki. I have always aced interviews that are technical as compared to theory. Do you offer such help to your candidate, e.g. reporting in Excel, interviews, practical interviews? I believe most candidates forget about technical interviews on second interview. Be given raw data to generate reports. I think Jay will tell you, of course they do. They offer that. That one, I know Sheila is in the room. Sheila will post, I see Sheila here. She will post their contacts there so that you can contact Jay Mudaki. Why is it that the panel don't share salary budget? That's a question, Jay, and I'm thinking I saw another one. Yeah, just answer that for now. And sorry, am I obligated to send my current payslip to recruiters, especially when they request? So the budget and the payslip one.
Now, the first thing is that a payslip is a confidential document. You don't need to share it. And the other question was about, Esther, the other question was about
the budget, why the panel does not
why
share
companies
the
do not.
budget.
Now, for me, I believe when you look at most, I believe that it's a Kenyan culture that is affecting us. When you look at most of the jobs that are posted within US, Europe, UK, you will see that they post salaries. It's only a culture in Africa, and I will urge my fellow professionals in the recruitment industry that we post salaries on the job advert so that now candidates do not waste their time. And they also, as they are coming, we don't have the question of what are your salary expectations. Someone sees the salary on the advert, they make a decision whether to apply or not to apply. I think that is a practice that people in HR and recruiters should really adopt, and it helps us reduce much pressure on the candidates as well, and also we manage our time well. So companies should be able to share that budget during the interview. They should just tell you that we are offering this. Will you be willing to take it? If not, then you make a decision at that point.
Absolutely. I agree, Jay. I think it saves time and resources for both the organization and the candidate.
I
It's
think I've seen
important. Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
the adverts we do when you're hiring with you, we always post salaries so that someone
Yes.
makes that decision. Yeah.
Yes. And if we give you a call when you've been shortlisted, we'll tell you that the organization is giving 300,000. How much are you on? If you're on 7, then I think that is done. So it's
Yeah.
just it's only fair for the candidates to know so that they don't travel so much
Yeah.
and spend so much time preparing for something that is way below their expectations. So how precise should your cover letter look like? I think that was, would you answer that separately? I'm trying in the interest of time.
Cover letter should be 1 page, and
Okay.
it should consist of 3 parts. So the introduction,
Mhm.
the body, and the conclusion. So the introduction should talk about your interest in that position. For example, if they're asked about someone with 5 years experience in manufacturing industry, that should come, the 5 years experience should come on the first paragraph where you're talking about I'm interested in this position, and I believe that with my 5 years experience in the manufacturing space, I'll be the person that is best for this role based on the skills I've acquired. Then the second part should be talking about your skills and how they align to that position. So you can have 2 paragraphs for the body, where the first paragraph talks about the skills and how they align. The second paragraph can talk about the achievements that you have in the previous organization that you feel will impact on the transferable skills that you bring to this other organization. Then the third part can talk about this fourth paragraph can talk about now you reiterating on your interest and looking forward to meeting with the having a conversation in an interview on how your skills align to the requirements.
Thank you, Jay. On a light note, someone once said, don't write to an employer a love letter, you know, a long one, a love letter. I have seen your billboards. I love the colors. Just go straight to the point. Now, yeah, how do you go around a question asked that you may not have an answer for? And I think that's very wise. That's important for you to answer so that, yeah.
Now, what kind of questions might you not have an answer? If it's a question about the JD, at least, or the technical aspect, at least you should have a clue on what you need to tell the recruiter. But if it's a question that you feel is out of context, or maybe you do not have an answer, you can just tell that the panel honorably to pass.
Yeah, and then sometimes it gets very personal. I know there are
Yeah.
questions that would feel very personal. I think it's good to professionally just excuse yourself from answering them, but very professionally. So why would an organization fail to send a regret note to unsuccessful shortlisted candidates? Does such act create a negative impression about the organization as far as the candidate care is concerned?
Now, one thing is that when you advertise for a position, especially for mid-level and entry-level position, I know some of you have gotten this invite from the channel that I run. In the channel, we have 22,000 people now. And I'm sure that if I post a HR assistant job in that channel, within 1 hour, I'll have more than 500 applications. Now, most companies are still using the manual way of responding to screening CVs and even responding to candidates. So if an organization talks, for example, an organization that is using the manual system, if they talk about responding to all the candidates, that means that the HR might take about 2 weeks to respond to all the candidates that have applied for that position. But I still feel that if it's only the candidates that have come for the interview, I still urge the HR community that we need to respond to this. We need to customize our feedback to these candidates. If a candidate wasn't confident, if a candidate was communicating poorly during the interview, if a candidate didn't do enough research about the organization, we should give that customized feedback so that the candidate can be able now to work on this and improve in the next interview. So the HR community, we have a big role to play, especially when it comes to giving response, and even developing our adverts.
Good. And I see it's 8 or 9, but we are still all in the house. That tells me we want to get these answers. So maybe quickly, if you have been jobless for 2 years plus, how should you fill your CV, and how do you explain why you've been out of work and yet you've been applying and not getting the jobs despite paying for a CV revamp?
Now, one thing is that now there are several reasons that might have led to that gap. For example, sickness. The other one might be you lost a job or you are rendered redundant. So now what happens is that during this period, as much as you're still job seeking, you need to be doing something constructive that can help you gain skills. Now you can mute yourself. You need to be doing something that is constructive, that either you can take a course online. If it's skills where by now you're in the project management space or you're in the teaching space, you can even start now offering lessons to students, even volunteering just to teach students. You can as well uh, get into community service. It is helping you gain some of the skills you gain here might be transferable in the area that you want to focus on or in your area. So based on your area, you can talk about now just getting extra skills or refreshing your skills to be able to remain competitive in the market.
Good. Stephen Miner says, great, thank you for this presentation. Very helpful and timely. I have an interview tomorrow morning. All the best, Steve. All the best. Gladys, what's your take on job seekers adding an open to work on their socials?
Now, sometimes for me, I feel it's desperation, and I will not advise that. I will want you to, if you're a job seeker and you feel that you're really keen on impressing, brand yourself well. You might not be working at this point, but how you brand yourself online will make people get attracted to you. So brand yourself well, sell your skills, post content that will help people relate with what you're writing, and then be able to have people come for you. Network, go for this network. I always say that, I always tell people, and this one Esther will agree with me, 70% of the job, what you see on the job boards, what you see in our channels is just 30% of what is being advertised. 70% is where Esther calls me and tells me, Jay, I want 2 mechanical engineers. And I'll check in my database or check within my network for those people that have reached out to me, Jay, we're looking for a job. Then I refer them to Esther. So make sure that as much as you have socials and you can brand yourself, make sure that you network. Take networking seriously and it will sell you.
I agree. I agree. Personally, I just send a text to Jay. I need this. This is the location. This is the salary. Get me the people. In a few hours, I have the right people. I interview and I close that chapter. So please network with people like Jay. We also have the jobs, but have your CV in the right hands. That's what I would say. And very well done. Thank you, Esther and Jay, for this interactive session. My question is, if you have applied for a position lower than your current, and you have been invited to the interview, then during the interview, the interviewer asks, I can see your current position is higher than what you have applied for here. Why would you wish to move? And let's say your current company is toxic, but you don't want to paint that picture. How do you go about that?
Now, on questions on why you want to move, there are several answers on the same. So the number one reason why you want to move, you might want to move because you feel that in your current company, you are not growing. So you feel that now by moving, you will grow. The second reason why you'll want to move is that you might be moving to an organization whose values aligns with your values. So it will be easy for you to excel in that organization. Then the other reason you're moving, if you have a toxic environment, but now you cannot tell the recruiter this. So anytime you're moving where you feel that you are in a toxic environment and you're moving to another organization, always align your response to the mission and vision of that organization. As much as I'm working for JCVs, I feel that by joining Conversations with Esther, which an organization that solely concentrates on, can say, mental wellness, I feel that my values on mental wellness aligns with Conversations with Esther. And by joining Esther, I'll be able to impact more. I'll be able to have a bigger platform where I can as well leverage my skills. So that means that by Esther absorbing you in her organization, you'll be able to have a bigger platform for you to impact or leverage your skills in that area.
Is it, I'm looking at this. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you, Sheila, for the summary. Thank you for joining today's conversation on how to ace a virtual job interview. In case you joined late, our speaker, Jewa Lemba, has taken us through virtual interview etiquette, types of interview questions, general technical, situational, behavioral, culture fit questions, and things to observe during an interview. And I would like to say maybe at this point that we are live on our YouTube channel, Conversations with Esther Katiba. So this session and many others that are professional, they are workplace related are there. So follow us, you can subscribe to Conversations with Esther. That's YouTube. Our LinkedIn is Esther Katiba. Let's continue to chat there. Now, is it advisable to include your former boss as your referee while he created a toxic environment for you and he would never give positive feedback about you?
Now, when talking about referees, we want to have people that will recommend us positively to potential employers. So having someone that you're not in good terms as your referee is in the first place a disadvantage to you as the job seeker. So have someone that can recommend you, and you should have good relations with your referees. So if it's someone that has created that toxic environment, don't have them on your CV. You'll even have the organization called the HR rather than having your media supervisor.
Yeah.
Or if you're in the same department, you can even, I'm sure, if you have 3-4 bosses that you're reporting to, maybe you're reporting to one and they're reporting to, there's that ladder, the organogram. I think if there are 3-4, at least one of them will be someone that can recommend you. So but if you have all the 3 against you, then it means that you are the problem. But at least out of the 3, you should have someone that can recommend you.
Good. Thank you. I think the next one was answered. Give examples of questions that an employee should ask actually, not employer. I think this is good. Should ask during an interview and which are appropriate. I think that one is, the other one was for employers. So Jay, what should we ask when we are asked if we have a question?
I've said that anytime you are asked if you have a question, always ensure that you're asking about questions about the organization. And if it's a project-related role, maybe you're coming in as a project officer. So ask them how long is the project going to take, and are there any more projects that are coming up, so that now you can be sure about your job security. You can as well ask the organization or the interviewers if it's what are your expectations for me within the first 90 days. So now that is during the probation period. What do they expect you to achieve within that period? So always ask questions that are related to the job and even the organization, and not personal questions.
Absolutely. Now, tell us more about yourself. We are coming to a close. Tell us more about yourself. How long should I take in this question?
Now, tell us more about yourself is a question that is 90% of the interviews. Is this the first question? And this is the question that sets the tone for the interview. How you respond to this question will determine if the next part of the interview will be a conversation or still be an interview. So tell us about yourself question. You should take a maximum of 5 minutes if it's maximum, but 3 minutes for me is enough for you to be able to give information about your experience, give information about your academics, and also give information about the attributes that relate to this position. Because tell us about yourself, you need to talk about your name, you need to talk about your academics, you need to talk about your experience in relation to the job that you've applied for, and then the attributes that relate to this. Sometimes most of the job seekers will ignore the requirements in an advert, and that place requirements, that title requirements in an advert is very key for you to be able to talk about your attributes during as you respond. They have talked about they're looking for someone who has excellent attention to details skills, but you're not mentioning that in an interview. So you need to mention this so that the recruiter can easily relate with what they're looking at.
Beautiful. I think we are coming to a close. How do you handle non-communication from a recruiter after interview past the feedback timeline? What should they do? And the next one is, do you apply jobs on behalf of people? So how do you handle that non-communication and the time is passed for the feedback? When we say that we are getting back to you in 1 week and then it's over, what do I do? And then does JCVs apply jobs on behalf of people?
Yes, we do. I think Shayla has shared a number there. Now, one thing with job seekers, this one I know, and let me say it openly, that job seekers have a problem with closure. If they are told that we'll get back to you in 2 weeks, some people stop applying for jobs as if they feel that hii job nimeipata. Now they stop applying until when they get a disappointment from that potential employer. So anytime you go for an interview, before you get communication, forget about it and then focus. Continue applying for other jobs. If they communicate, well and good. If they don't communicate, let that not be a problem.
Good. I think would asking the recruiter not to contact your former employer, of course, be a red flag?
That will be a red flag.
Yeah,
And
someone would be
it
asking why.
Yeah, it will even make the recruiter more curious. They'll call that employee even before you get to the gate.
So you better not even mention it. And I think Jay, please tell us about JCVs as we come to a close. And thank you very much.
You're most welcome. So JCVs is a good organization that supports job seekers through the services that we offer. We do CV writing, we do interview coaching, we do HR consultancy as well. We recruit on behalf of clients. We do career coaching. We offer career support to those people that feel that they're stuck in their careers, or someone that feel that they do not understand the direction they should take in their career. We have a discussion with you, and then we help you realize the career goal. And then we also now support job seekers by helping them apply for jobs, especially where you feel that you're not doing well in terms of applying for jobs, or you don't have time. We come in and support that. It's a package that we offer. So there are our numbers on the chat section. Feel free to contact us. Then we can engage further.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you, everyone. It's been a great evening. From Conversations with Esther, it's good night. God bless you. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Conversations with Esther Katiba, and follow me on LinkedIn. Feel free to chat with me, Esther Katiba, on LinkedIn. Thank you. God bless you, and good night. Thank you, Jay.
Thank you. See you tomorrow at 8 p.m.